Okay, we got the cylinder more or less done. I want to flatten this one out just a hair, and I think we're good. I shine this up just a little bit. I don't go crazy with the shining, but you guys can see what's going on in there. I want them to crack at the same point, and I want them to be flat. So this is where we're at. Basically, final scuff, prep, deglaze, which is get a little sandpaper. I'm not honing this one. I think I said that in the last clip. There's still plating on this cylinder, but it looks like it may be getting a little thin. Again, old saws, it is what it is. I'm not going to hone this one because I might go through the plating. Okay, so deglaze, go around the ports again 2-3 times with 600 grit, shine them up, and then I'm going to go eat some lunch, and I'm going to wash this cylinder while I'm inside. I'll hit you guys up when I know more. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We're ready to rock. Go eat supper. I've been in here since 6:30 this morning. It's been a grinding marathon. I know I've ground too long when my hands are tingly. You guys that grind know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's time for the old Tinman to stop grinding because my eyes are getting a little buggy and can only go so far. I feel like I'm getting to a point where I'm almost done, but I could make a major mistake. So for that reason, I'm out. I want to recap a few of the issues that I've encountered. A lot of you guys are emailing me saying, I want to port my Homelite. What do I do? Well, until I've done 15 or 20 of them, I don't know what you should do. You should really study how a two-stroke works. If you have a good grasp of how a two-stroke works, go in there and have a peek. Put a timing wheel on it and have a peek. There's not a lot you can do to these guys. Now I'm going to show you. Number one, I have 3 of the same saw here. Same cylinder, same piston. I've measured everything. There's 3 different squishes. One's real sloppy, one's a little on the tight side, and one's perfect. Well, the one that's too tight, we can make a thin paper gasket. I'll probably show you guys how to do that if that's what we encounter. The one that's too loose, you need a lathe. So if you don't have a lathe, you're not going to be able to correct the squish. So that could be an issue for some of you. And the other one's perfect. So I don't know. They ran these saws for what, 20, 25 years? 30 years? I don't know. 60s all the way into the 80s. I think there's a huge variation of tooling they use. There's a huge variation of deck heights. So right there, squish is an issue. Make sure you check it because it can be way too loose or way too tight. The next thing, you can't do a lot of machining on the piston. The piston crown at the top is 100 thousandths. That is my personal rule. I don't like to go below 100 thousandths from the top ring to the piston crown. Why? Because you can rip the top of the piston off, and that is a catastrophic failure. That is 100% grenaded saw. So you can't really do a lot of work to the top of the piston, which means pop-ups are out. So that's the next problem. And then the other problem, and I'm going to show you guys here, I grabbed the one that's blown up. This one's kind of set up with the timing wheel. I don't really want to bump it. So these feed here and here, right? Top and bottom versus sides. Most saws feed from the sides, right? But because this is a horizontal piston, right? It's a horizontal piston with the exhaust port on the side, right? They feed from here and here. That's great for flow. I've been staring at this bottom end thinking, how cool is that those lobes, tell me that lobe doesn't grab air and shove it into the transfer, okay? As the piston's coming down, look, see the timing of the lobe right there? Tell me those don't grab air and shove it right into that transfer. I think it does. It has to. So I think there's going to be, this transfer here is going to be fed less than this one. But I think that's a good thing. Did they design it like that, or did it work out that way? There is no exhaust ribs on the back side of the piston. And that's also consequently the side of the piston that I think gets the most fuel and air shoved into it, which will make it run cooler. Did they do that on purpose or did it happen by accident? I don't know, but it works. I mean, how many 30, 40, my buddy was on the WhatsApp with me the other day. Was that yesterday or this morning? Doesn't matter. But my buddy said his brother still has his dad's XL12 and that thing's like 40 years old and it still runs. So it's incredible. So I'm rambling like I do. Okay, but here's the problem. You can only feed those with that little tiny wee cutout in the case. That's small. That's really small. Okay, you're very limited in width and your thickness here. Now, if you want to trench the cases, have at her. That's a lot of work though, but that's the only way to make these things flow even like a regular saw is you're going to have to trench the cases. Which means you're going to have to split the saw, bearing seals probably, and match it with trenching. So that's an issue. Your width, remember, because your ring rides here, okay? Your ring rides in between this gap. And the cylinder lays flat. So your exhaust port is here. Now normally the piston comes around and your exhaust port is here and the thrust side of the ring is dragging on the exhaust port. That's why you want to chamfer or you're going to catch a ring, because that ring eases in and out of the exhaust port on a microscopic level. And if it's not chamfered, you'll catch the ring. With these, that ring is riding on the transfers. So you don't want to cut the transfer bridge all the way out. You can, but you really got to be careful that the ring isn't riding right in the transfer, because again, you could maybe file a groove into the sides of your transfers, right? Right? Because your ring's riding here and here. You guys follow what I'm saying? So you can't go hog wild on these transfers. You got to be careful of the rings on the sides. So I'm really enjoying this project because it's hard. There's no free lunch in this one. This isn't your regular saw where you go time it, zing, 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 throw it together and it runs great. We don't know how this is going to run. We don't know if the reeds on this saw are going to feed it like it did on the last saw. We don't know. So I'm rambling. I just wanted to cover some things that are in my brain right now while it's fresh and in my mind as I'm working on this saw today. So if you are going to work on these saws like that, take all that stuff in mind and think about heat. These things run hot. So all those things, if you take all that into account, porting one of these, it's a lot of work, but you could be successful. So that's what's on my mind. I'm going to call her a day. And tomorrow morning, I'm probably going to get up super early like I do, grab a pot of coffee, drink half of it, and then out in the saw shop. We got to do a little bit of cleanup to this piston. I want to chamfer the top and the bottom, smooth it out, and we can slap the piston in. We can put the cylinder. I got to wash the cylinder 2 or 3 times. I'm going to check transfer flow and all this other stuff that I do, and then we can prep the cylinder, put the piston in, rings. This has 2 rings. I forgot. Husqvarna guy, single ring, right? We're going to put the piston rings in, put the cylinder on, and then we can mount the handle, and then it'll be bolting on a carb and seeing if this thing runs. So we're very close to the end. The end is near, but not today for this guy. I can't focus right now, so for that reason, I'm out. Thanks for coming here, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm really enjoying this, and keep it up. Without you guys coming here, what is this channel? It's only successful because you guys come. As always, thanks for watching. Till tomorrow, take her easy.